Good morning, traders. Welcome to Beyond Profile. Today is Monday, May 2nd, and we have history in the making this morning as we wake up and find out that bin Laden has been killed. The markets, had you been awake last night, were a lot higher. They've actually sold off on this news. You can see the NASDAQ here, the new profile for the month. There's a big topping tail. We were high as 24.27. Now actually going to be back inside of the prior pivot highs over the last few trading sessions here. Going to be interesting. We were talking last week, Friday, how the markets, usually in May, sell in May and go away type of thing. We are somewhat extended to the top side. If in fact they do not hold on to this news this morning on this run up, it may have been an excuse for them to sell into that, and we start to see some working. Look at where the monthly point of control is for the month of April for the NASDAQ, 23.27. That's a long ways down there. When you consider we actually closed outside of value for the month of April, so coming back and retesting value area high at a minimum here. What is that? 23.55 is what I'm looking for. All right, this is what I'm going to be looking for. And again, there doesn't seem to be much of a bounce. I've been watching the markets for the last hour, and every little rally is being sold into right now. So we were a lot higher in the overnight, and nobody's there to take the other side of it, at least not right now. We'll see, because like I said, on the NASDAQ, we're really opening up inside of the prior value area. If this completes as a topping tail here, you'd look at that and say, well, they tried to move it higher and it was rejected, which means then we have to catch a bid lower down on the food chain here in the markets. Now, again, this is the NASDAQ. Let me go to the S&P chart. It looks a lot similar. There's the S&P. And again, a lot more relative strength. Broke over the prior pivot highs at 1340s. What was the high last night? 73s. It's a big move. It's 30 points out of the breakout area. So coming back into this 1340 area, the first time is going to be buying opportunities for this market. All right, we talked about a cheap last week also, a cheap, if you will, extension mechanism here to measure this move just by an extended move. If we take back from there, yeah, see, it's the measured move concept of just doing it, eyeballing it without getting too detailed on it, just looking at the original move up here and then taking it from where it broke out. It's an extended move already, so measured move concept already in play. So topping tail, we'll see how we form today. And again, on the S&P, you've got the volume at 1327, so anything back into this area, which is, again, it's a good 30-point move. This will become a substantial area for us going forward for the S&P. All right, 1327. The euro, let's look at that real quick. That's ran some stops last night. We may be in store for a pullback there. There you go. Here's the euro chart. You can see we're starting to get some more topping tails up here. We busted through that prior high at 45. Looking for the same thing here. You've got a couple naked areas on the daily. The first one would be 4650s. And then another one down 4621 and 4560 area. One of these areas to come back into, this one would make the most sense because this would be a pullback after the breakout. We had hit some supply, and we need to look at the divot here in the April profile. All right, especially right here, 4741. Kind of come down last night to that area, 4744. Just with the tail though, and you can see how quickly we bounced off of that low volume area. And then the next one would be 46.49 territory. So these areas here on this chart, any pullback in the euro, look at these charts. You go back and you look through history, and anytime you've had an extended move up like this, there's always retracements in these markets. And, is it going to be this week? Because we are into May now. If it wasn't for the news last night, I don't know where we would have been. We would have probably been a little flat, if you will. But this morning, a lot of excitement. But again, too much happiness sometimes cannot be a good thing either, because remember, they're looking to sell, a reason to sell into these big moves up like this, especially after how many days we've been already up in weeks. So what else is going to be, what else good news is coming out? If anything, I would be a little bit more skeptical about, even buying these highs. Look at what happened to the silver market. Let's look at that last night. Here you go. Here's the silver market on that news last night. You can see where it was trading in Friday's close. Here it was right around $48. Look at the drop. Went as low as almost 42. That's a big haircut. That's almost equivalent to like a 1,200 point drop in the Dow if we had it. That's huge. And everybody's been so bullish and lately on silver. The last pullback and then run up again. and now a lot of people are going to be underwater. Looks like it's trading 45 back up off the lows a little bit, but still not going to be anywhere near where they were, buying these highs up here. So, these markets, sometimes you got to be a little bit more smarter, if you will. Again, that's why you don't want to buy highs. You got to wait for pullbacks to buy, and if it goes, just let it go without you, because you don't want to get trapped in things like this. Because now people are majorly underwater. Will they get back to it? Well, they may not. How much more do they want to pull back in these markets before continuing higher? So that's just a good example of it. Sometimes there's too much happiness around. Beware the contrarian part of you ought to say, we've rallied this far already. Maybe we should hold off. It's okay intraday, if you will, to play the positions one way or the other, but to hold stuff overnight, that could be detrimental to an account, if you will, unless you have funds that you could put at risk for this sort of a movement, and it's a huge move. All right, folks, have a great trading day, and as we start the new month off, let's see how things shape up. We'll see whether or not the old saying of selling may go away play out this year or not. We'll see you in the room.